As we told you in the morning, our colleagues from Stanford visited a few villages in India to get a first-hand experience of village life and their needs in energy, food, water, and other resources, if you will. So the two young people here, Love Sareen and Rishi Goyal, is going to talk to us about this visit. Apparently, they also took some videos, so it should be pretty interesting. So let's hear from Love and Rishi.
All right, guys. Sorry. Good afternoon. I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. So my name is Rishi Goyal. I'm a master's student at Stanford. I study management science and engineering. And with me, who is still getting mic'd up, is Love Sareen. Love, come on up. So we had a site visit out to Sioni and Muda. Sioni in Madhya Pradesh and Muda next to Nagpur. And it was mostly to help us understand, we are here to come up with game-changing technologies, and it's a question of who are we coming out for these technologies for? And that is what we are here to discuss. What we saw there, what we learned from there, some of the really cool things that we saw, and some things that are challenges that we need to overcome.
The objective of this visit was, as Rishi just mentioned, was not to throw the technologies that we use or we prefer in our daily lives, but to understand what their needs are, what their requirements are, to get an exposure to their life, and then come up with what they might need. This BIDGE initiative by Reliance Foundation helped us to get connected to these villages. They have worked in these villages doing many programs for rural development. BIDGE was started in January 2011, and as you will see in our talk, they have done a lot of work in this short amount of time. Their acceptance in these villages helped us get a closer sort of attendance with them, to see them and observe them and talk to them, interact with them closely.
All right, just one more thing I'd like to add, that this word BIDGE, it is a play on word by Reliance Foundation. BIDGE as a word in Hindi means seed. And BIDGE, the acronym that stands for them is Bharat India Jodo. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bridge the old rural lifestyle, the old rural income, the old rural nutrition levels, which are slightly lower, with the new urban levels that we are seeing in the cities today. And this is the initiative taken by Reliance Foundation, and this is what we got to see, and we want to share it with all of you here.
So the way BIDGE is functioning, they have selected about 25 clusters all across India in about 10 states right now, and they have got about 127 village farmer associations. So they are targeting marginal farmers, and these farmers, when come together, make a farmer association, which then benefits from all these BIDGE activities collectively. Their intervention areas are in both crop level and also the technologies which these people may need in managing the agriculture livelihood.
All right.
Actually, here are some examples. If you can see, if it is visible, the technologies these people are adopting and promoting. So here is a seed separator, a very simple technology which benefits the farmers to be able to grade their seeds and not depend on external market forces when they need the seeds, and be able to have a collective effort of a seed bank kind of thing where they can share the ownership and kind of help each other when they need seeds rather than depend on the external marketers. Here is on the top left, there is a traditional tribal method of preserving the seeds for vegetables, and this doesn't require any additional pesticides or chemicals to preserve the seeds. They are going out to these farmers not just by the technologies and their own inputs, but they are actually taking the inputs from them and then trying to spread it throughout other clusters and other villages as well.
All right, just one more thing I'd like to add to this. As Love was saying, that one thing they're doing is they're going and taking a lot of input from the villagers themselves. And one of the problems that we've seen of late with a lot of the NGOs is, they come out with a solution, they try to apply it to a village, and if it doesn't work, the villagers hate you for the rest of their life because you just spoiled a lot of their time and didn't really come up with anything. But what Beej is doing, which is really good, is the ideation, the prototype, and the testing, and even part of the piloting is all done in-house in their site in Muda. The villagers and the VFAs, they get to come there and they get to test out the technology, see the results themselves before they're implemented out in the field. Some of the pilots, once, as you can see, like the ideation prototype testing is all done completely in-house. The piloting is done in concert with the VFAs. And then the next step, the mainstream, is where they do it with each of the VFAs and then at a cluster level. So because they're doing it, they're taking on a lot of the risks themselves. You can see that there's a lot more acceptance and a lot more momentum that is with these projects are going forward with.
Okay.
All right, so what we wanted to show you is where we went. So we went to Sioni in Madhya Pradesh, and we just figured that instead of telling you about it, it's a lot better if you can visualize what the place is like, what the people are like, what the landscape is like. And so then the rest of the talk would make slightly more sense to those who are unfortunate enough not to join us on that trip. So.
इसमें volume क्यों नहीं आता?
It has a population of over 1.3 million. Technical difficulties. 1 second, please.
Just a second.
Where's it? Make it lower.
People,
Should I start it?
out of which 6. Siuni is a predominantly tribal district in eastern Madhya Pradesh. It has a population of over 1.3 million people, out of which nearly 47% are scheduled tribes and castes. Gonds are the main tribe inhabiting this region. Traditionally hunters, this nomadic tribe has transformed into a settled farming community over a period of time. A community whose subsistent economy depends majorly on forest and agri-produce. While the natural conditions do not ideally suit agriculture, legal regulations prevent a free access to forest. Siuni is also a major center for herbal and Ayurvedic medicine trade, with a host of products found in abundance in these forests. Ironically, the local people scarcely benefit from this, as mere collectors of the produce. Spread across more than 1,500 villages under a rich forest cover, Siuni finds a distinct mention in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book as a backdrop for Mowgli stories. Also referred to as the Tiger Country, jungles of Siuni host the Painch Tiger Reserve, a tourist hotspot named after the river Painch.
All right, so as you can see, like Sioni has everything in it to make a really good site for prosperity, right? I mean, it has a forest land in it, 47% of the people are doing agriculture. It has rainfall that should be sufficient for them for the whole year. It has a beautiful tiger reserve, which we tried to find tigers, but we couldn't, unfortunately. But I mean, given this entire backdrop, you can see that this is a place which should thrive. It has everything there, but unfortunately, it hasn't. But now we are seeing that with all the programs that have been put in by Beej, some sort of restoration is going on, some sort of confidence building in the people is coming back, and you can see the optimism there that this is a area that can do a lot better. All right, so our biggest takeaways from going there, from what we saw, okay, first is that different levels of poverty with very small delta in between. We will get into some examples of these, but what these means is, as long as you cross a certain small threshold, you can see a lot of gain in the way the people are looking at life, a lot of optimism that comes in. Second, the wave of new technology adoption is very high and under the right conditions. Now, we've highlighted the word new because a lot of the practices, as we said, are, in consideration with all the local practices, in consideration what has been done over the past years. And therefore, they're not really new, but they're slightly tweaked from what we have as standard. And third, we see that relatively small investments can make a really big difference in these people's life. Okay, so this was something that, it was really, really fascinating for us to see. What we saw is that a really small difference, a difference between struggling for achieving basic necessities like water to working on comprehensive plans for addressing community problems. So we went and saw 3 different villages. And the second village we went to, every type of question we asked them about what would they like to see different, how would they like to, what would they like to see 5 years from now, 2 years from now, how would things be different here, what would they like to see us do, what would they like to do, and their answer for everything was water. We need more water here, water for farming, water for living purposes. Their one answer, the only thing that they could see and envisage was water. But on the other hand, another village we went to, which had, through Beach, put a lot of good water harvesting processes in place, you could see that that village had actually come out with this 11-point plan. All right. And 11-point plan on how to make, their lives better from everything, from in education and roads, that prioritized it and had already started thinking about things to do and how to make these things possible.
Wave of new technologies. So we have seen a lot of momentum, a lot of involvement from these farmers as they see the success at the initial stage of adoption. Many have joined in very quickly, and we have seen like 200 to 400% growth in membership, in contributing to the seed bank, subscribing to that model, and then adopting the methodologies to harvest the water and plan out their fields in a way that water doesn't run off, the soil run away is not that much, and they can get those benefits very quickly. Partly because of the Beach team involvement, close involvement and partnership with these farmers to take them at the same level and talk to them about their needs and really pinpointing and directing their solutions to those needs. But under the right conditions, it's very quick penetration.
Another very important thing we saw is that, as I said, relatively small investments can make a big difference. So transformation on with relatively small investments of up to rupees 10,000 or USD $200 per farmer. This was the amount you needed, each farmer needed to put a biogas. All he needed was 2 cows and this much amount of money, and he could put in a biogas plant. And just by putting in this plant, you could see transformation in so many different aspects of their lives. For example, in health, the women, first of all, let me just say this, that in every family that had a biogas and the people we went and spoke to, the women were more vociferous in, propagating it than the men were, just because it impacts their lives more directly. For number one, in health, they didn't have to blow into the firewood anymore, and they said their, lungs were a lot clearer. The biggest impact actually of cooking with firewood is on the eyes, which is something that we didn't really realize. And they said that their eyes were a lot better. They were not watery, they were not red, they were not running, they were feeling really good. On nutrition, the women actually said that they started eating a lot more just because they find the food a lot more tasty and a lot less carcinogenic because it's not burnt with the firewood.
It doesn't have the smoke on it. Yeah.
All right, soil productivity, because the end product of biogas is something that can be used for nutrients for the soil. And you could see, all the farmers were saying that within one cycle of using it, it was a lot better for them. And women empowerment, as I said, like the women, you could see the confidence, you could see how, how the amount of time that they're taking for cooking has gone down, the amount of, the health impacts for them have gone down. So all these really leads to them being really confident, and it was really a sight to see for us.
They don't have to spend hours on that smoky chula and do everything depending on when the chula is running. Now they can instantaneously, whenever they need, go in and quickly turn on the knob and make a cup of tea or whatnot.
All right, so just to come to the end, we just like to say that, from our group, I've been to villages before I went to Stanford, and there's a big difference that I saw in these villages. People are optimistic. People are not, they are not resigned to the fact that there is nothing else for them out there. They're taking the ownership in their own hands. But all that aside, we want to show you one really fun clip from what we had out there. Apologize to all the Stanford professors who are featured in this video, but have fun, everyone. All right. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.